Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Since about midday today, we have been together. We have been having some good times. And this program has been gaining impetus as the day moves on. We'll be having warm and wonderful times. I'm sure that you can testify about the warm at least. And you'll find it gets more wonderful as it goes on. But this evening, as we officially begin this program, or as we commence our formal opening session, we need to recognize the one who is above all of us and the one on whom we all rely. And so at this time, honor where honor is due, I invite you to stand as we acknowledge God's presence with us and seek His guidance through the rest of this program. Please stand. Let us pray. Our loving Heavenly Father, it is with grateful hearts that we bow in your presence. And we thank you for the blessings of life, for this beautiful island on which we live, for this beautiful part of the island that we now enjoy. We thank you for the intellect you have given us, and we thank you for the advancements in technology as we seek to accomplish our mission and to carry out your will and your purpose here. As we come together in this very important summit, we pray, loving Lord, that your guidance will be upon this session. We pray, Lord, that your wisdom will lead us, and that what we gain at this GAiN session will be used for the furtherance of your work, for the completion of the mission, so that we can go home to be with you forever. We pray, Lord, that you'll guide us this evening, and may all things here be to the honor and the glory of your holy name. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Please be seated. It is my privilege this evening to introduce to you the one who will guide you through the activities of this opening session. It is my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Janeth Monan Green, a public relations practitioner who is quite competent and capable. And I turn the microphone over to her at this time as I wish you all a very good evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Looking good. Congratulations to my colleague, Nigel Coke, for bringing out the crowd. President of the Jamaica Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, Pastor Everett Brown. Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, Honorable Favour Williams. Custos Rotolorum of St. James, Bishop the Honorable Conrad Pitkin. Administrators and directors of the Jamaica Union Conference, conference presidents, other church officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all, good evening and welcome. Now, for those persons who know me and know my association with the church and have seen me in this capacity sometimes, maybe, you'll know that I always begin with a verse of scripture. And this evening I'd like to begin by quoting from Hebrews 13, verse 16, which tells us to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices God is well pleased. And I believe this evening that He's pleased that we are here in this forum to discuss, to debate, to explore the issues that we have on our agenda, because it is in accordance with His mandate Jesus' mandate that he left to all of us to go into all the world and preach the gospel to every nation. And it is our mission, those of us who claim to follow him, it is our mission to do as he says. And I think we can all agree that this conference is a time, this conference is an occasion whose time has definitely come. I've always contended that as a church, we need to stand up, we need to speak out, and we need to get the word out. And I believe a communications conference is most appropriate at this time. So Jesus meant for us to use all the means available to us in each age of human development to get the good news out to all people everywhere. And modern information communication technologies present limitless possibilities for us to accomplish this mission. We have at least accomplished one of the objectives of this conference, the Global Adventist Internet Network Conference, which is to bring together persons of like interests in one forum to discuss and present ideas on pertinent issues. I sat in on a couple sessions this afternoon, and I think we are accomplishing, if we have not yet fully accomplished, that objective. So let me hope that when all of this is over, all of us can say that it was good for us to be here. And at this time, I wish to invite my colleague, Nigel Cook, the Jamaica Union's Communication Director, to present the official welcome and opening remarks.
Good evening, everyone. We have arranged for the Master of Ceremony to establish the protocol, and it is established. I'm here to give you a formal welcome to GAiN Jamaica. GAiN Jamaica has been in the making for some time now. It has been in the making. It was a bell thought of to be put off. Then it was on again. I remember telling Sam Navis in Washington at that GAiN conference about this GAiN conference, and he was so excited because when I told him it will be titled The Gospel According to Technology, he went wild. But here we are. It's finally happening after months of planning. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it was not easy. I said to them at the table at lunch, GAiN has some pains. And we always make joke at the office of late over the past week that our theme song should be hymn number 625. I'm pressing on the upward way. New heights I'm gaining every day. So we're so delighted, and I am more than delighted. In fact, in an interview on NCU Radio, I told Arnold Kelly, the interviewer, that I was excited to a stress. I should have said to a fault. But I'm here to welcome each of you. I want to particularly first welcome our Custos, who is here with us. That's Custos Conrad Pitkin. I welcome also the Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology, Honorable Favor Williams. I welcome my President and our administrators who have been with us supporting this program and to ensure that it will be done. I want to welcome a special friend of mine. I am sure you are experienced with his brand, but I invited him and he's here with his wife, Oliver Townsend, the CEO of Nutsford Express. Oliver, let them see you. He's my good friend, Mr. Nutsford Express. I want to welcome Chris Derring, another of my good friend. I was looking forward to the purple jacket, but it's not here this time. I welcome my colleagues from the General Conference, Pastor William Costa and his team. That includes Samuel Nevis and Brent Ardinge, my colleague from the Inter-American Division, I almost said pastor, Professor Abel Marquez, and his assistant in communication, that's Libna Stevens. I will not leave out my special friend, Mrs. Marlene Street Forest, who is here from the Jamaica Stock Exchange and is also a sponsor, and I must say Christopher Daring, who is a sponsor through Reddit TV. Want to also recognize our institution leaders, Dr. Lincoln Edwards, president of NCU. Want to also recognize the CEO of Andrews Hospital, Dr. Marvin Rohotas. Colleagues from the Bahamas Conference, colleagues from Turks and Caicos, the Cayman Islands, Trinidad, the Atlantic Caribbean Union Mission, the Jamaica Union Conference, all its conferences, the East, the Northeast, the North, the West, and the Central. I welcome you all. 2019 is the 30th anniversary of the World Wide Web, and we're entering the 5th generation of mobile technology. Digital is arguably the biggest factor shaping the future. There are many different technologies impacting our lives today, such as machine learning and artificial intelligence. The digital revolution and information age are providing great opportunities and changing the way we communicate, how we live, how we work, and how we go about business right across the world. Users of technology are set to have the tremendous opportunity to demonstrate their emotional intelligence and even ethical guidance capabilities. A recent survey done by Market Research Company tells us that the internet is where people are going. People are going there for radio. People are going there for TV. They're going there for movies. They're going there for everything possible. And all of this was made possible because of a little device called cellular phone. This is why we believe a conference of this nature is very important at this time in Jamaica. Our World Church at its headquarters in Silver Spring, Maryland, was spot on about 14 years ago when they started the process of training church communicators all through information technology. That's where it started, with an IT training, to now be in the forefront of annual training of the Adventist communicators via GAiN. It is important because not only are participants exposed to the regular training in writing, photojournalism, crisis management, logo design, etc., but they can also be empowered through presentations such as robotic and artificial intelligence, animation, blockchain technology, data protection bill, and also a special presentation which you will have this evening, two of course, on the digital switchover and the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. It is very important and significant that through the hosting of GAiN, our church has been able to forge new partnerships with companies like C&W Business, and the Jamaica Stock Exchange, while maintaining and improving the partnership with our title sponsors, Lasco Distributors, Lasco Financial Services, and associate sponsors such as Jamaica Bedding Company, Pioneer Distributors, Three Angels Pharmacy, the RGI Communication Group, NCU Media Group, and of course, Ready TV. We trust that what you have experienced and will experience as we started earlier today will continue, and at the end of this conference, we will all admit that it was good being at this place during these ensuing days to come. I welcome you once more and invite you to enjoy the rest of this opening ceremony, which we believe will be a very interesting and fulfilling one. God bless you.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, get accustomed to it. That is going to go on for the entire evening. I have no plans to fall. So at this time, I am delighted to introduce to you Pastor Williams Costa Jr., Communications Director for the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. And I see here, based on the notes that I have been given, that Pastor Costa is from Brazil, and he has concluded, or he has concluded 3 college programs in music. I wonder what instrument he plays. And he graduated from the Andrews University in the United States of America with a master's degree in music history and composition. Very interesting. More and more interesting. He has served his church for the past 20 years as music teacher, piano performer, choir and orchestra conductor, music department director of Brazil Adventist University. And he has also served in a number of government institutions. He was the founder and director of the CPA Sao Paulo Media Center institution, and he served in that capacity for 3 years. He was called to be marketing and music director of the Voice of Prophecy radio ministry in Brazil. A lot of us in Jamaica know about Voice of Prophecy. In the next year, he became the producer of the TV program It Is Written. We also know about It Is Written in Portuguese. And from 1994 to 1998, he was the Brazilian It Is Written Associate Director. He was also called to be director of the Western Hemisphere Adventist Satellite Television. In 2005, at the General Conference session in St. Louis, he was called to serve as the South American Division's Communication Director. And in 2007, he accepted the call to serve again as Associate Communication Director of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists in Silver Spring, Maryland, Washington, D.C. Since 2010, he has been serving as Communications Director for the General Conference. For those of you who may be interested, ladies now, he's married and has been for almost 45 years, although to look at him, you would never know. He has 3 adult children, and all his children are married, and he also has grandchildren. So this evening, I'm delighted to invite Pastor Costa to present us with a global overview of GAiN.
Good evening. I am really pleased to be here tonight. And when I finish my speech, you will understand why I am so delighted to be here. What I'm going to share with you at this moment is dreams and imagination. You're going to say, well, but you were invited to talk about GAiN, the history of GAiN, okay? So why GAiN? Because when we serve Jesus, we have nothing to lose, only to gain. Okay? Keep this in your mind. But why GAiN was created? Computers were developing. In 1972, the first email was sent. In 83, the internet, the modern internet, was growing, and more people were using those tools, those electronic digital tools. Then in 2004, the Seventh-day Adventist Church decided to have a conference with technologists to discuss about those new trends. And they decided to do this in the headquarters of the church in Silver Spring. Coincidentally, in 2004, Facebook was starting. Wow, we got the real subject. Look to this new tool. How can we use this to share the love of Jesus to people? Then on the next year, the GAiN, Global Internet Network, Adventist Network. I make a confusion with the explanation with the acrostic. It was in Bangkok. 2006, it was in San Diego, California. So every year, those people were together, discussing, searching, and looking. And please note that in 2006, Twitter started. And everybody was in San Diego discussing how to use Facebook and Twitter to share the good news of salvation. Then in 2007, I came to serve the church at the General Conference in Silver Spring. I came in May, and my first responsibility was to coordinate the GAiN, that it's the old GAiN. Coordinate this conference in London. Ah, my goodness. In English, in London, in just 1 month to prepare everything. I worked like crazy. I remember that some days I worked kind of 20 hours. And in the beginning of the month of June, the GAiN in London, in England, was realized at the Newbold College. But believe it or not, on the same month of that year, 2007, the iPhone was released. Look at that. And from that occasion up to now, we are trying to discuss the new discoveries, the new contributions and technologies on this conference. So communicators, people that create content, technologists, people related to IT, all sit together and talk and dream and imagine how it's going to be if we use these tools to share the message. How can we empower the message of hope worldwide using these tools? And believe me, the Lord has blessed mightily. 2008 was in Denver, on the next year in Orlando, Florida. 2010, we had so many problems, we didn't realize GAiN. What a shame. You know what? We were not doing GAiN in 2010. We had the general conference, but there was other problems. But on the same year, Instagram was starting. Come on. This new tool. And there was no meeting to discuss the blessing to use it for God's glory and to share hope to people. But in 2011, finally, we overcome some of the challenges that we are facing. And the conference, the international conference, tell me where it was realized. Where? Jamaica, no problem. Montego Bay, at the Holiday Inn, not so far from here. We had a wonderful meeting. We had approximately 100 people on that occasion. And I said to you that I was delighted today because just Jamaica participating on their local GAiN, on their regional GAiN, has double of the international GAiN 8 years ago. Amen? This is such a blessing. This is such an accomplishment. This is a dream that became true. And in the beginning, we couldn't imagine that this conference, we're going so far, but the Lord has His plans. And in 2012, we went to Hong Kong, aiming to enter with the message of salvation through the internet in China. 2013, we went to Dubai, aiming to enter into the Middle East. 2014 was Baltimore. 2015 was online. 2016 was again at the headquarters of the church in Silver Spring. Then 2017, it was in São Paulo. Oh, it was a big celebration. We traveled and visited many places, including Novo Tempo and the publishing house. Last year, it was in Seoul, Korea. What an inspiration has this GAiN conference connected with the Mission Congress of the Northern Pacific Division. And this year, some months ago, we just came from Jordan. Beautiful fellowship with other institutions of communication and technology, always searching new tools, new ways to share the good news of salvation. A dream that became true. But to me, the most meaningful aspect of the development of GAiN through history is that we are not realizing this only from the General Conference. GAiN has inspired people. And now we start seeing more and more regional GAiNs. In South America, they are doing 16 GAiNs per year. Can you believe in that? Bolivia, Peru, Chile, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina, Brazil, 16 GAiNs per year. Hundreds of people. Samuel just came from the regional GAiN in Brazil, realized in Brasilia. Also, in a regular basis, there is GAiN Europe, a very, very strong child of this source, the international GAiN. I heard that we had GAiN in Mexico. There was GAiN in Tanzania regularly. And 1 year ago, we realized that GAiN in India. And now, GAiN in Jamaica. That's so beautiful. That is so inspiring. Why? Because this conference exists to excite your imagination. Many times we come to GAiN, okay, so let me see the presentations. More than look to presentations, I stimulate you to apply the knowledge in practical activity, in your community, in your church, in your personal life. You need to imagine ways, different ways to share, to inspire, to motivate people. This is why we have GAiN. GAiN is a forum that we get together. And believe me, Pastor Nigel, I am so impressed that 99% of the audience is paying attention to the presentation. Oh my goodness, one of the problems that we have with GAiN worldwide is that while someone is presenting, the largest amount of community are or with a computer. And when we say, oh, you need to pay attention to the presentation. No, I'm hearing. Well, this is not radio. This is an experience. And I'm so delighted that you are paying attention. And I thank Jesus for the opportunity to be here. And I motivate you to think, to dream, to imagine how to use all these tools to share the beautiful message of salvation. We live to serve Jesus. And when we serve Jesus, we have nothing to lose, only to. May God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking the low road. I'll revert to the, how is the song again, 625? To climb the upper, press on the upward way in a little bit, but for now, I'm going to take the low road. And I want to tell Pastor Costa that in Jamaica we have a saying, we little but we talawa. What that really means is that what we do, who we are, far exceeds 4,411 square miles. We are a magnificent people. We are great. I also want to tell you as well, I also want to mention to you that in 1995, when I went back to the University of the West Indies to do my second degree in communications, I had a professor called Hopeton Dunn. All of you in here will know Professor Dunn. And I remember sitting in the classroom that afternoon, and sitting with me, there were 10 of us in the group. It was the first master's program in communications at university. And sitting with me were two of my colleagues. One of them, you know, he was just buried on Sunday, Martin Henry. And another one, Errol Miller from Cable and Wireless, who was buried a couple of years ago. And I remember sitting beside Errol Miller. And Errol Miller, Professor Dunn, Hopeton, wrote on the whiteboard, WWW, 1995. And I turned to Errol Miller and I said to him, what the heck is that? This is 1995. In 1995, I didn't know what WWW meant. All right? Fast forward now to 2019. And I haven't been to church in about 5 weeks because I've been at home with my daughter who is ill. But guess what? I have missed church because of WWW. Right? So things are changing, times are changing, and the church must change with the times. All right, at this point in time, I am inviting Pastor Jermaine Johnson to provide us with a special item.
Good evening. As I think about the Global Adventist Internet Network, I cannot but think about the second advent and the beautiful blessings we will gain. Too many miles behind me. The trials are through. Too many tears help me to remember. There's just too much to gain, to lose. Too many sunsets lie behind the mountain. Too many rivers my feet have walked through. Too many treasures are waiting over yonder. There's just too much to gain, to lose. I've crossed the hot, burning desert. I was struggling right road to truth. But somewhere up ahead, there's cool, clear water, and defeat is one word I don't use. Too many sunsets lie behind the mountain. Too many rivers my feet have walked through. Too many treasures are waiting over yonder, for there's just too much to gain, to lose. Too many treasures are waiting over yonder. Oh, there's just too much to gain, to lose.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Too much to gain, to lose. Our next presenter is Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest, the General Manager of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And Mrs. Street Forrest's name is one that is very well known by many or most Jamaicans. Her mandate is to continue the process of developing the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and particularly the exchange in an atmosphere of transparency and fairness, while using appropriate technologies to provide the greatest possible efficiencies in the marketplace. She has a wealth of experience and has worked in senior management positions at various private and public sector organizations in Jamaica and overseas. It is under her stewardship that the Jamaica Stock Exchange became demutualized and the US-denominated market and the junior market were launched. She also spearheaded the Registrar Division of the Jamaica Central Depository when she served as General Manager for this subsidiary of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Mrs. Street Forrest attended my alma mater, the University of the West Indies, Mona, where she read for the bachelor's degree in management studies and later gained her master's degree in business administration at the Barry University in Florida. In 2016, she was conferred with the honor of the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander Class in recognition of her outstanding leadership in the growth and development of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And for those of you who are not familiar with what the Order of Distinction is all about, it is a singular honor conferred upon our outstanding citizens by the government and people of Jamaica. In that same year, she also received the Afro Global Excellence Award for Global Impact from Canada for exhibiting great leadership, vision, integrity, and commitment to excellence. She's a Justice of the Peace and serves as a director for the Good Samaritan Inn, another of our church's organizations, a Christian outreach aimed at uplifting the poor and marginalized. I'm delighted to welcome Mrs. Street Forrest. And following her presentation, you'll have another item from Mr. Errol Wolfe-Smith.
Good evening, everyone. You'll agree that that was a good decision, right? Yes. Okay. I am actually very happy to be here this evening to share with you a little about the stock exchange. I'm happy to be here as well because I think this is a very good conference, and I want to congratulate the organizers of the conference. I'm going to be speaking a little about the social stock exchange. And so before I begin, I want to see the hands of anybody who knows what a social stock exchange is. Okay, so I have a big task ahead of me, right? So, I thought about it and I said, persons might wonder what's the connection between this conference and the stock exchange. And the connection really is very, very clear. Two things. One, it is that the stock exchange has a social conscience. And the church, that's really what we are here to do. We have a social conscience. The stock exchange also is driven by technology. And this conference is all about technology. And this evening, when I'm talking about now the social stock exchange, is how the stock exchange uses technology to address social issues. So that is very clear. Is it? Yes. So I'm going to tell you a little about the stock exchange itself. As operators of the stock exchange, almost all our functions are driven by technology, with our systems linked to each other to allow for efficient communication, minimal dissonance, and speedy processing of thousands of market transactions daily. We believe that it is this resulting in investor confidence that has assisted us in being the best performing exchange globally in 2015 and in 2018. Now, what we want to do is leverage that technology and the capabilities in order to grow and to mirror that to grow to drive the social sector. We believe that the social sector is underserved, and as an exchange, we have a responsibility to ensure that we look at the entire ecosystem and close the gaps, although we are for profit. But we must be more than for profit. We must look at how we are going to use the technology to drive social activities and to ensure that persons, other than those even who are investing in the market, can benefit. So on January 22, 2019, we launched the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, and that's called the JSSE, which is intended to link social and financial capital by facilitating a platform and an inclusive framework for social returns through donations. You all know about, you have heard about crowdfunding? Anybody heard about crowdfunding? So this social stock exchange, the platform or the technology, is really driven more by that. But we are saying that as a stock exchange, we have this responsibility, or corporate social responsibility, to use that technology to drive donations in a transparent and efficient manner. There are many persons here sitting and in the diaspora or elsewhere who would want to give to social programs, but many times they are inhibited because of fear. They are not sure it is going to the right place, the right person, and how it is being utilized, they are not sure, because after they have given that money, they don't know what happened. But so the social stock exchange is that vehicle through which, when you give that donation in the first place, you are able to see where it goes, how it is measured, the impact that it is going to have on our lives. There's much that we can do through the use of technology to minimize the need for people to see no hope, but instead play with the best of the best on the global stage through positive digital disruption. So we talk about technology, and we now need to see, imagine, innovate, see how the church, private sector, and others are going to use that to the benefit of Jamaicans. So for the world stage in many exchanges, disruption is about high-frequency trading and dark pool transactions. But for us, It means elevating lives by closing the gap in the ecosystem. And a major gap is the underdeveloped, what we call third sector, which is the social sector. We also are driven by the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and also the fact that the Jamaica Stock Exchange is a sustainable exchange. And one of the major pillars of sustainability is that of the social sector. So our emphasis in incorporating the social stock exchange was one word: social. So there are other things to look on, environment, etc., but we are cued in to social. So the JSC, the platform, will and is the primary conduit through which social capitalists, it's not a bad word, and social enterprises can meet. It really is a meeting place, a market. So when we talk about stock market, it's just like Coronation. And when we talk about the social stock exchange, it is a market. It's just there where buyers and sellers meet. But this time is meeting through technology. The JC has made a public commitment as a market operator and a regulator that one of our primary goals is the protection of investors. Whether you are social investors, we have extended that needle, that mission. Whether you are a social investor or investor in the normal financial market, we think that we must play a part in doing so. We think we must play a part in making capital more accessible, enabling social donors to give to multiple projects all through one portal, allowing easy evaluation of projects as information is at a finger click away. Again, we talk about technology, facilitating the ease in the manner of and standardization of disclosures. So for the Jamaica Stock Exchange, one of the most important things is disclosure. You want to know how your finance or the companies that you invest in are doing. For the social stock exchange, you will know how the companies you have invested in, whether as a social donor or otherwise, are doing. So we are going to be doing this, and we have started in 2 phases. Phase 1, which is a donation. You go on, you look at all the companies that are available, and we have 5 companies that have been approved for listing on the social stock exchange. And the approval is to give them the ability to contribute to the implementation, maintenance, or expansion of their projects, which have a measurable social return on investment. And these projects intend to have a positive impact on urban renewal, young men through music, women entrepreneurship, the hearing impaired, and regarding peace and love and conflict resolution in schools. And I know that that must be music to the Adventist ears. Am I correct? Because it is what we do, or what we are supposed to do. And these institutions are Agency for Renewal, Alpha School of Music, Choose Life International, Def Can Coffee, and Praise Jamaica. So if you want, you could go onto our portal and look at jsse.jamstockex.com, and you will see what they are. Phase 2, we are going to be talking about how you can get a financial return and a social return from your investment. Just looking on, zeroing on people, planet, and profit. We believe that in doing this, we are reaching out not only to the companies or the entities that want to invest, but we'll be reaching out to numerous registered, benevolent, and friendly societies, charitable organizations, including the church and social club. And what we want to do is to find a way to encourage you to look at this platform based on the robust platform and inviting features and good regulatory mechanism, we believe, and also the fact that investors must meet pre- and post-listing requirements, we believe that you will be drawn to looking at the platform and to actually provide funding. We want to encourage you, and we crave your buy-in and support, and let us all be proud to say when you support it, that not only is the JSE the best performing exchange in the world, but that the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is making a difference in uplifting the lives of the poor and the socially marginalized. Thank you.
Mr. Errol Wolfie Smith.
Microphone testing, 1, 2, 3. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Members, passers-by, members of the distinguished guests, passers-by and well-wishers, good evening. I am Mr. Errol Smith, and not because you're Wolfie, I don't want anybody to run. My name is Akuna Matata. I'm a dub poet. Let me extend my gratitude to the Seventh-day Adventist Church for that mobile clinic that has been established in my community. I think that's a wonderful thing. And I must also extend my gratitude to Mr. Dane Fletcher. He invited me all the way from Kingston to Montego Bay to do my poetry, which will be technology. Technology, everyone, priority. You know, see it create a scenery. All over the world, them are building industry. Them have Swan Song, them have Blue, and them have Galaxy. You know, you are going since lately. Technology gone crazy. It make people brains get lazy. Some are cry out for hypocrisy. Microsoft up the ante. Anywhere me there in the world, you can't see me. It come like a open sesame. You don't believe that? You want me to chat? You better jump on your laptop. Any information where you want to get it right on the spot. You talk about that, you know, you about WhatsApp. You can text without money and send video to your honey. You don't even have to take a second look for each on Facebook. And this you can create your own page and get center stage. Me not telling a lie, nothing wrong if you have a new program, just install it for Instagram. You can make penetration and meet a lot of other nations. I'm gonna suggest technology and make progress. If you have anything of interest, just put it on Pinterest. The world is on go slow. Most people are searching logos to the end up on IMO. You see Skype? It is one of a type. A destination you have no trace and meet other race and talk face to face. A tablet is not to worship, it's just like a wallet in your pocket. It gives information like a rocket. Yes, when you use your smartphone, you know, use it alone. So nobody go on like you're no king sit down on a throne. Touch screen, everyone dream of the latest on the scene. Touch the screen, it up like a laser beam and relay information like a magazine. Go up on YouTube. That you for use. YouTube coming like the daily news. Me not telling a lie, you not take no bribe when you keep your thumb drive. It keep everything alive. You not run no risk to the memory chip. It keep everything on plastic. Technology getting broader. Most people getting smarter. So they end up use Twitter. And this you can create your own event and your advertisement. And that's my argument. Microsoft create their own document. Turn the page and create your own sentiment. That's more than a compliment. Technology make one step ahead. That's why man get to lean back and wall a maids. Microchip of the liquid so small, me can't believe it. Mr. Fletcher, oh, you look so frail. Come on for me trail, just send your email.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And that is what we are talking about. That is why it is so important to have an event like this. Because what it says is that people understand what these technologies can do. All people can understand, and they do understand what they can do. And the technologies can be very effective in doing what our mission is, which is to do what? What is our mission again? Spread the gospel. It is very effective. Okay, so now I am delighted to introduce to you this evening our next speaker. His name is Mr. Christopher Daring. And most of you will remember Mr. Daring from the very daring enterprise called Daring, Bunting, and Golding. And I think that is how Mr. Daring burst on the scene some years ago, over, what, a decade ago, 15 years ago? Are you serious? I'm getting old. So he's a well-known Jamaican and Caribbean personality. I always want to put the Jamaican in there because I think it's important. Very well-known Jamaican and Caribbean personality. He has a reputation for being a dynamic and innovative entrepreneur, and that is exemplified by his latest venture in Ready TV, Jamaica's first prepaid subscriber television service. So what that means is that you can pay as you watch. Previously, he was chairman of Cable and Wireless Jamaica and a member of the global leadership team of Cable and Wireless Communications PLC, with responsibilities spanning 32 countries and over $2.5 billion US in revenue. Mr. Daring led the Caribbean's successful staging of the ICC Cricket World Cup in 2007, the third largest global sporting event, coordinating an unprecedented 9 countries and 9,000 people to deliver the on-time construction of 10 cricket stadiums, a spectacular opening ceremony, and 54 ODI, one-day international matches, broadcast to a global audience of over 2 billion people. I mean, come on, India alone is over 1 billion. A regional pioneer in the business of sport, he has negotiated numerous multi-million-dollar sports rights deals across the world. And in 2001, he conceptualized and launched SportsMax, the Caribbean's first sports television channel, which now broadcasts in 26 countries. SportsMax was sold to Digicel in 2014. No stranger to banking, after an early career at Citibank, Jamaica, Mr. Daring launched financial startups Corporate Merchant Bank in 1988, and then Daring, Bunting, and Golding in 1991. DB&G was listed on the Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago stock exchanges, with a groundbreaking startup firm growing from its initial capital of US $2.5 million to the US $100 million value, for which it was sold to Scotiabank in 2006. He's also a sportsman, as he played both football and cricket for Jamaica at under-19 level, with outstanding club careers for Real Mona and Kingston Cricket Club, respectively. He was awarded a football scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan College in 1981, from which he graduated cum laude. I don't know whether it's laude or laud, with a BSc in Marketing and Economics, receiving the Wall Street Journal Award for Economics. He's married, he has 3 children, and Pastor Costa, you may be interested to note that he's married to a Brazilian. Welcome, welcome, Mr. Daring.
I still have it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. While I get my PowerPoint back up, first of all, Nigel, I apologize for not wearing the purple jacket. The explanation is that we have a rule at Ready TV. Our corporate color is purple. And if anybody understands where the whole branding and logos came from, it comes from when you had to carry the colors of your regiment in an army during war. And so it was a great honor to carry that flag with the colors. In fact, that soldier was not even given a gun or a sword or anything. All he carried into battle was that flag. And it was a great honor for that person. And, you know, if you watched movies, you'd hear, you know, if this man should fall, who will carry the flag? And everybody would jump up and say, I will carry the flag. It was a great honor to die for your country, fighting in your regiment. Well, I don't ask anybody to die for Ready TV, but I do ask them to live for it. And therefore, everybody is required to wear a pop every day, a piece of purple. So you don't see me with my jacket, you know there's something I have on, it's purple. It's a watch. So, the digital switchover. Marlene asked everybody what was the social stock exchange, and I had to admit I didn't know what it was. How many people know what the digital switchover is? By a show of hands. I bet you're wrong. No, I hope you are right. The reality is that Jamaica's digital switchover is a scenario that is long overdue. Through nobody's fault, it's been a lot of years of planning, consultations, technologies have changed over the years, and so on. This is a technology-driven forum. And so much of what we speak about is about the internet. In fact, it's in the logo GAiN. The I stands for the internet. The internet is one digital platform. There's an entire digital world, but I can understand why you use the I, because it wouldn't read so right. GADN doesn't really make a word, but it's really digital. It's not necessarily the internet, and I want everybody to think that way. And before I begin the presentation on the digital switchover, there are 5 things that I want you to bear in mind as I go through the presentation. The first is that in the digital world, content is king. Which, you know, it's very difficult to follow Wolfie as a presenter. But Wolfie is probably the simplest, the greatest example of the digital world. He is living, breathing content. And in this digital world, you have such a plethora of screens. That's basically what it means, digital screens. Whether it's a phone, whether it's a tablet, whether it's a television, whether it's a laptop, you have access to information 24 hours a day. That's what it means. And in that world, content is king. Because you have all these screens. Several of us have 5, 6 screens each. You know, you have your TV in the bedroom, you have your phone, you have your laptop, and you have your tablet. How are these screens going to be filled? It needs content. It needs Wolfies. So that's number 1. Content is king. And if content is king, in the digital world, Jamaica is at least a prince. I think we're a king, but I'll be humble and say we're a prince or princess in that digital world. We are living, breathing content. We play way above our weight. Our brand is global. Everything we do seems to have this little touch of magic. Everything about how we celebrate sports, celebrate life, how we create dances. I mean, I can't keep up with the dances. As soon as I learn flaring, another one comes. It's incredible how these guys, out of the bowels of this country, rural and urban bowels, how they come up with creativity every single day. Not moving. Okay. Third thing to remember is that distribution is the key. And don't be afraid of all the acronyms that you hear in technology. All these are a menu of digital platforms. the content is here. And if I use this example, this GAiN function, this GAiN opening ceremony, is the content. How it is being distributed is over a range of digital platforms. So yes, it's being streamed, but some people might pick it up on their phone on a 4G network. Some people might pick it up on somebody's Wi-Fi. I know my helper, she's probably watching it at home now on my Wi-Fi, which she hasn't had to pay for, of course. Some people are watching it on cable through a fiber connection. It's being broadcast live over the air on Ready TV. All are digital platforms. That's a DVB platform. So really the important thing, if you remember to point number 1, that content is king, this is the important thing, the content that is being distributed across a wide range of digital platforms. The fourth thing is that the content starts at home. Building any value into that content starts at home. There's no substitute for authenticity. And if you're going to create Jamaican content, Jamaicans better love it. And you better make sure your Jamaicans love it. And we've seen it in many examples. Musicians or artists and so on, they make it big here and then they go overseas and think they can stay over there without coming back here to get back the special flavor. Make sure that what they're producing is authentic. And it goes for all of our content. Authenticity is king. And finally, TV still rules. As much as the internet is the future and where everybody's excited about it, TV is still king. More hours are still spent on television. It is still cheaper. The masses still watch TV. It is also still the main way content is monetized. A lot of content flows across the internet. How much generates income? So just bear those 5 points in mind as we talk about the digital switchover. Because since we say that broadcast television is still the medium of the masses, millions of hours of broadcast content is used to educate, inform, and entertain. Billions of persons around the world. Don't lose sight of that. It is the gateway to the digital world. Global went digital, I think, in 2011. Brazil, all of their television channels are digital. You can pick it up on television. I was there in Football World Cup 2014. People were watching it on their phones, on a digital broadcast network, not over the internet, but on their phones. And so if we look at the history of what has happened in Jamaica, some of you look too young to remember, but I remember when TV used to come on at 5 o'clock in the evening, and you couldn't wait. You couldn't wait. And I remember Romper Room. I used to dream about getting onto Romper Room. But in 1963, JBC started broadcasting in analog, black and white. 75, JBC converted to color in analog in 1975. We have not moved since. It is still analog in color. 1975, the rest of the world broadcasts in digital. Jamaica still broadcasts in analog. So when will digital high-def television come to Jamaica? If you look at that Jamaican market, you understand why there's such a massive digital divide in Jamaica. There are 880,000 households. The census tells us that. The census also tells us 800,000 households have at least one TV set. And we kind of know it's true because JPS the other day announced that they bill for 600,000 and they believe about 200,000 households are stealing electricity. So it balances. It adds up. If you have a TV, chances you have electricity. Broadcast Commission, though, will tell you that there are about 190,000 homes with cable. And we also know it's around that figure that have fixed internet. So it means that there's 600,000 households in Jamaica that all they get is analog television. They're still in the analog world. And of course, when we talk about internet, internet is not internet. The FCC has defined internet, broadband internet, which is what we're really talking about, not the old dial-up and so on, 25 megabits per second. And I do mean an actual 25 megabits per second. I know when I first went to Cable and Wireless and started to try and understand the digital world, and when people would tell me how much speed I should get, which I never ever got. You know, you're trying to get an explanation. I gather the engineers and say, look, explain it to me so that I can explain it to the public as chairman. I could not get an understanding. Because at my speeds never ever got, you know, when they tell me it's 100 megs, I never got more than 30. Could never understand it. But I gather there's some scientific engineering way to explain it. But the reality is that less than 10% of Jamaicans who even have internet, which is a few people, actually have real broadband speed. So that's another challenge. And so do the maths. Would you rather be able to reach 800,000 people with a TV set, or let's say 30% is true, 200,000 people on the internet? So that's where the digital divide comes in. That's 600,000 households. 78% of our country are caught in this digital divide. They have not been able to make the transition. Where is the bridge for them to take them to all this wonderful technology that we know is waiting for them? But there has to be a bridge. There has to be something that educates them, takes them across that divide. And why is this divide? Why do we have this divide? It's affordability and access. Let's look at the affordability. Over 60% of our people earn by the day, you know, clean up that yard and I give you $500, you know, wipe a windshield wiper, cleaner, the gardeners. They earn by task work. Daily enterprise, farmers, they're not going to earn a monthly salary, weekly paid construction workers. They don't earn a monthly recurring salary. So they'll never be able to afford a monthly recurring fee. Average cable television fee is 55 US a month. The average internet, and the average internet cost is 23 US a month, with the average speed being 9 megabits. Remember I said broadband is 25? And all per capita is 5,000 US per person, per annum. Per capita GDP. Just do the maths. You'll understand why prepaid mobile grew the way it did. Why we launched prepaid cable TV with Ready TV. Because most people can't afford a monthly recurring bill. I get $100 today, I can't spend it. I get another $100 tomorrow, I can't spend it. I don't get any money for the next 3 days, well, that's it. That's why prepaid has grown so big in Jamaica. And of course, if you're looking at internet costs at 23 US, the World Bank says that for internet to be affordable, it shouldn't be more than 2% of somebody's monthly spend. That 2% of $400, 400 US monthly spend is 8 US. 8 US in Jamaica is not going to buy you a lot of internet. Certainly can't last you a whole month. Then the access. You have, out of that 610,000 households I spoke about that don't have any connectivity, 350,000 households is the economic access. They can't bridge that gap economically. Another 260,000 households have no physical access. Even if they could afford it, there's no cable and no internet running to them. And who is going to provide that? Who is going to provide that digital content? So you're talking about 190,000 households really benefiting now from the digital world. And a lot of people will say, well, look, we have 2 great mobile companies vying for business, providing mobile internet. Well, the reality is that the cost of mobile is still prohibitive. It's $8 a gig. Believe me, somebody try watch Jamaica play football yesterday and stream it on their phone, that phone bill is going to be quite high. If you watch 2.5 hours of football. So it's not conducive to the masses being able to access digital content. The digital switchover is converting what takes place now with analog broadcast to digital. It's using a digital signal instead of analog broadcasting. It means crystal clear, high-def picture and sound in everybody's home. It means multi-channels being broadcast into everybody's home. It means interactivity. Everybody know a tree called Poor Man Orchid? I call digital TV Poor Man Orchid. It's what they need to be able to access the digital world in an affordable way. Get them across that bridge to the beauty of the true digital world. So I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty changing the slides, so it's a little, all right. You know, that's quite embarrassing for a technology person to, but thanks for that, right? So we're poised for a digital content explosion with the digital switchover. Let's make sure, right? Habits. You have, right now, 3 analog broadcasters with licenses, TVJ, CVM, and Love. But with digital, imagine getting now these stations in your homes, and I'm not talking about the people that already have cable. I'm talking about the people that put up a rabbit ears and what they see. In fact, you know, I don't want to say it here, but they have a colloquial name for it in the country. You know, when I go someplace and I install Ready TV and I'll say, do you have cable? And they go, no, I have the rice grain. Because that's what analog looks like to a lot of places. In urban areas, it's quite a good, decent signal you get, but in the rural areas, they get mostly snow. I don't know how they used to watch cricket and football. But not just these 3 channels, but you'd also get 10, 20, 30 free-to-air, high-def channels that can spread the word, spread education, spread all the information and entertainment that we need. Provide platforms for our content creators. Remember, we're kings of it. We are living, breathing content. Wolf will just show you that. Somebody I'd never heard of, but comes up here and gives us just brilliant poetry. 100 and odd pay TV channels. Jamaican pay TV channels. Platforms that Jamaicans can get to sell their ware, create and sell their ware. I see NCU here. NCU has a TV station. Who sees it? Who gets the opportunity to see it? But if it was in people's homes, free to air, in high def, makes a difference. In 800,000 homes, not the 200,000 homes that have internet. The government itself, live broadcast classes, education. I see the Minister of Education talking about twinning schools so that one school can help another with the content, which is educational classes. Well, you can televise the best maths teacher, his class or her class, to everybody in Jamaica. So no matter what school you go to, when you come home in the evening, you turn on your TV and you watch the math lesson for that day as well. That's what happens in other countries. That's what the digital switchover has achieved in many other countries. Live channels during disaster preparedness. You know, so you can follow what's going on across the country. Hurricanes are coming. The Jamaica Information Service films thousands of hours every year of footage that nobody gets to see. It's stuck in archives. PBCJ is only on cable. It should be broadcast live to everybody so we can see our parliamentarians and their debates. I gave you a plug there, Minister, so. And we all love to see them, don't we? The DSO is a project, a national project that for once all interests are aligned. All interests. You have the private interest because the private sector is willing to fund it. In many other countries, the government has had to fund it. In Jamaica, the private sector is sitting there waiting to fund it. Private capital, professional management, sustainable business. It's in the public interest. All those things that I just mentioned, the education, the new content, the ability to reach everybody all the time in the digital world, bridging that digital divide. And yes, it's also in the political interest. Now, I know you will say that the political interest and the public interest should be the same, but it's not always the same, and it's not their fault. Minister of Education can build a school. I will tell you, I will bet money that it wouldn't get as much votes as if he gave everybody internet. Or cable TV. That's the reality. So in here you have something that is actually would be very popular. To get all of a sudden somebody who is getting one, maybe two grainy channels, and all of a sudden they can get 20, 30 free high-def channels with education for their kids, movies, Jamaican movies, Jamaican soaps. So all interests are aligned. What has happened? It's been deferred here in Jamaica since 2010. That was when the date set for our digital switchover. And every year, it's been deferred. So the US did theirs in completed theirs in 2007. We started our process, I think, in 2006. The US completed theirs in 2007. We've had 10 years of planning, consultations, and the new target date is 2021. But to get to 2021, you have to start now, whatever process you're doing, because you're talking about a whole range of activities to bring about the digital switchover. The good news is that the final recommendation has been submitted by the DSO Steering Committee, which really is the Broadcast Commission and the Spectrum Management Agency. So they've done all this work, they've comprised everything that they need to do, they've now made the submission, and the decision by the government is pending. And we wait with bated breath and pockets ready. Now, I know it would be very rude of me to put the minister on the spot, so I won't. But I know you guys can. But seriously, look, I've always felt that Jamaica is just this fertile ground for the development of content. It's one of the things we're just innately good at. I'll never forget one of my first overseas junkets to try and raise money for projects was on Wall Street. And a whole team of bankers from Jamaica went to Wall Street with the government with a list of projects for funding. And the Prime Minister at the time, the Honorable P.J. Patterson, gave a speech to sort of roll the wicket, to open the floor before we would start to do all our presentations. And he spoke about the three things that Jamaica was innately good at. How beautiful we were as a country, natural beauty, our athletes, and our music and culture. And I remember looking down the list of projects that we had to present to Wall Street, and out of the three things that we were naturally good at, that came innately to us, only one we'd actually turned into an industry, not our natural beauty. We turned it into tourism, which was kind of easy because we didn't have to do much. We were already beautiful and had the beaches and so on. But it took work to create an industry. But you look down the list, there was no projects in music or culture. There was no projects to do with sports. So out of the three things that we were really good at, we've only capitalized on one. Well, the digital switchover is the opportunity for us to really make hay in the other two, because it's about producing content. And when I look at the popularity of the Indian soaps, when I look at the movies that people are creating out of Africa and India, and that people in Jamaica are flocking to, like, how come we haven't created all of these? Are we better than them? We have the music, we have the brand, we have the culture, we have the sports. No ladies netball match, no high school netball match has ever been televised in Jamaica. No Colts match has ever been televised. You go to Miami, every little high school is live on TV. Under 15 matches. That's what I'm talking about, content. Every church service. Can you imagine if GAiN had its own TV station in the digital switchover? So, what do we have to lose? Absolutely nothing. Everything to gain. Thank you.
I took away one important thing from that, Mr. Daring, when you said we have not been able to bridge the divide. Let me just mention something, though, that in about 15 years ago, again, Professor Hopeton Dunn and his wife, Dr. Leith Dunn, did a study that showed that there were some 3 million handsets in Jamaica, 3 million phones. That, for me, spells hope. Because what it means is that somebody like Wolfie get it. All right? Get it. Yeah. And that we have the potential to do it. And I think we'll do it. Jamaicans are like that. We'll do it. At this moment, ladies and gentlemen, I know the evening is growing late, so let me please ask you to welcome Pastor Everett Brown, President of the Jamaica Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, who will now bring greetings. Pastor Brown.
Mrs. Janet Monan Green, Master of Ceremonies, Honorable Favor Williams, MP, Minister of Science, Energy, Technology, and our guest speaker, Honorable Bishop Conrad Pitkin, Custis Rotolorum of St. James, Pastor Williams Costa Jr., Communication Director of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, Dr. Abel Marquez, Communications Director of the IAD, other representatives from the General Conference and the IAD, Mr. Christopher Deering, Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest, Wolfie, delegates, sponsors. I'm happy this evening to, on behalf of my fellow colleague officers, Pastor Bancroft Barwise, to join Nigel in to welcome you to GAiN Jamaica 2019. You know, ladies and gentlemen, in bringing brief words of greetings, I'd like to share with you that perhaps over a year ago, Nigel came back, Libna, from a GAiN conference, excited. And he says, Prez, I am going to plan GAiN Jamaica. And in discussing his plans, Nigel said that he would like to bring communications professionals and practitioners, members of the church in one place to share ideas, to exchange information, so that the church would be positioned to effectively and efficiently promulgate the gospel using media and technology. this evening on behalf of the Jamaica Union Conference, I'd like to commend you, Nigel, and your team. Nigel, this is the platform, and you have GAiN. I read somewhere where the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, says that digital technology is changing economies and societies at warp speed. And the scale and pace of change is unprecedented. That's what the Secretary General says. But this evening we are witnessing that not only digital technology, but technology and media in general is changing the world economically, politically, socially, and spiritually. Through media, the church can become more efficient and effective in fulfilling her mission and mandate of preaching the gospel and making disciples. The theme, the gospel according to technology, appropriate in the present context in which we find ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, as I bring you greetings, imagine, just imagine, that through media, through the utilization of modern technology, it is not only probable but feasible at this very minute, in nanoseconds, to share the gospel from Iberia Star all around the world. If Paul, the Apostle Paul, were living today, he might not have suffered shipwreck or incarcerated in Rome. He could have achieved all that he achieved from his laptop in a comfortable hotel room. We are able to do that and more today because of technology. What people like Dwayne Cheddar saw many years ago, we are just seeing today. Immense possibilities of using technology to share the everlasting gospel. And I'm so happy that many of our millennials in the church of today and the future Seventh-day Adventist church are here. The future of the church is bright. Welcome. Accept our greetings. God bless you and have a wonderful GAiN 2019.
Thank you, and Pastor, if Paul still decided to go to Rome, despite the information communication technologies available to him, his followers could agitate by using the technological devices to gather the crowds to do what is happening in Hong Kong now and free him. Oh boy, a crazy world we live in, don't it? So many things are happening. At this time, may I invite the Honorable Conrad Pitkin to bring his greetings.
I can see why the moderator decided not to try the stairs. Technology, technology, technology. Very good. But you must find means of keeping your instrument alive. Firstly, the master ceremony spoke of 1995 and the person she sat with in class who are transitioned. And I looked across and I said, Lord, it's not her time yet because she has work to do. And then when I walked in, I had to give Brother Nigel my instrument to keep it alive. And I said, Lord, I forgive Pastor Brown and Brother Nigel because I thought they were my friends and that they loved me. A few weeks ago, I shared with Brother Nigel, who was supposed to be my friend, some information that I thought he would have kept. It was time for the leadership of the umbrella groups of churches to change. And then it would have been my group to assume leadership. And I said to my brother, with all the responsibilities that I now have, I'm seriously considering to pass and ask another group to take the leadership. I did not ask him to tell his leader. However, I went to a meeting only to hear a letter being read. Kindly accept my apologies. I am unable to be with you. However, I nominate Bishop Pitkin as a chairman. I said, I thought Pastor Brown really, really loved me. Because of that, I had to be in Kingston almost all day today, using my instrument. But Pastor Everett Brown, President of the Jamaica Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, the Honorable Favour Williams, Minister of Science, Energy and Technology, Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Eastern, and the keynote speaker for this evening. Pastor Merrick Walker, Secretary of Jamaica Union Conference, Pastor Barwise, Treasurer, Pastor Williams Costa, Jr., Communication Director, General Conference, Seventh-day Adventists, and other members of the General Conference. Professor Abel Marquez, Communications Director, Inter-American Division, Seventh-day Adventist, and other members of the Inter-American community. Mrs. Marlene Street Forrest, Managing Director, Jamaica Stock Exchange, Mr. Christopher DeHering, CEO, Ready TV. Brothers and sisters in Christ, other conference organizers, good evening. On behalf of the citizens of St. James, let me extend warm welcome, especially to those who are out of Jamaica, to our beautiful parish, and in particular the city of Montego Bay. Montego Bay is now known as the fastest growing city in the Caribbean. It is the tourism capital of Jamaica, and it offers all the best that our country can offer. So we trust that during your conference time, you'll take quality time out to enjoy the environs of Montego Bay and our beautiful parish, St. James. Let me thank the organizers of this conference for hosting the conference in my parish and for inviting me to share in bringing greetings. Matthew 24, verse 14. And this good news of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the world as a testimony to all nations, and then will the end come. Mark 13:10. And the good news must first be proclaimed to all nations. Question this evening as a people: which method will we use to proclaim the gospel of the kingdom? Therefore, I'm excited to know that this workshop has been planned to educate and train professionals in finding new ways to reach their communities through the sharing of pertinent information and how the media and internet can help to evangelize our world. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout history, Christians, or let me say the church, have used many different approaches to assist in the outreach mission, which we call evangelism. Thus, from the church's perspective, the mode of communication and the gospel go hand in hand. The use of technology, media, and the internet has become the most phenomenal tools of communication and information the world has ever seen. The internet has now become a global town square in which the growing populations of the world gather to converse and exchange ideas. These communication equipment can and will influence and shape human behavior. Ladies and gentlemen, we are aware that many unsaved people are gathered at this square. People of all nations are converging with open hearts and minds, seeking for the truth. There are also many Christians traveling the cyber highway, seeking encouragement, friendship, and discipleship. There is also evil in this square, which the church must counter with the gospel of Jesus Christ. So we should harness the power of technology, especially the internet, to spread the message of the kingdom. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the importance of the media and technology for human existence in today's world may very well be the greatest communication medium that has ever been made available to the world, as well as the church. It is up to us as the church to make use of this remarkable communication methods and take the spotlight away from the enemy who would like to dominate these fabulous interventions. Therefore, I implore you, each participant, to seek to understand the changing information and communication technologies and how they impact our human lives and our Christian weakness. It is also important for you to understand how the biblical gospel of God in Christ Jesus, reconciling the world to himself, may be communicated creatively, engagingly, and interactively through the means of media, technologies, platforms, and formats. Along with having access to expertise, you will have the opportunity to meet other participants from different countries to share experiences and exchange perspectives. Remember, it is easy to get caught up in your daily activities that you can lose motivation or excitement for ministry. I pray that when you leave this conference, that you will have a renewed motivation to pursue your goals and find your enthusiasm rekindled. I also pray that the other activities for this conference will be successful and rewarding. God bless you, and do have a successful conference.
Thank you, Costas. And believe me, there were 10 of us in that class. There are 8 of us left. And I don't think I'm next in line. At least I hope not. Okay, at this time, we'll invite again Pastor Jermaine Johnson, who will entertain us with music. And following Mr. Johnson, I will invite again Pastor Brown to introduce our guest speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased and honored to welcome and introduce to you our keynote speaker, the Honorable Favored Williams, MP, Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology. The Honorable Favored Williams is a chartered financial analyst by profession. She earned an MBA with concentration in finance from the Wharton Business School at the University of Pennsylvania and a bachelor's in economics from the renowned Harvard University. Prior to returning to Jamaica, Minister Williams served in senior positions and president at the Putman Investment in Boston and a vice president at the Wellington Management Company, also in Boston. On her return to Jamaica, she had a most successful stint working in the private sector. In 2016, she offered herself for public office and was elected in the 2016 general election as Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Eastern. Minister Williams is passionate about science and technology and the exponential growth and national development that can be achieved when it forms part of the everyday ethos of a people. She is committed to igniting within Jamaicans a spirit of innovation and an excitement for science that becomes a fundamental element of the workforce. We're delighted, we're happy to have her this evening as our keynote speaker. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the podium Honorable Minister Favored Williams.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Come on, guys. Good afternoon again. Let me say to my friend Chris, thank you for not putting me on the spot about digital switchover, but I'm going to put myself on the spot and say to you, I am committed to finding that steering committee report and putting the full weight of my ministry behind it to get it done before, way before 2021. So let me acknowledge Custos, the Honorable Conrad Pitkin, leaders of the church, Pastor Everett Brown, President of the Jamaica Union Conference, Seventh-day Adventist Church, Mr. Williams Coster, Jr., Communications Director, SDA Worldwide, Mr. Abel Marquis, also Communications Director, but for the Inter-American Division, Mr. Nigel Koch, Communications Director, the Jamaica Union, Ms. Marlene Street Forrest, General Manager, not just any old general manager, General Manager of the best performing stock exchange in the world. Mr. Chris Darien, Ready TV, and Mr. Dawes is here as well, the CEO of USF. Ladies and gentlemen, I am impressed with your statistics. 25 million people worship weekly in SDA churches worldwide. And if you were a country, you would be Australia. And this worship happens in 202 of 230 countries and areas recognized by the UN, making you the most widespread Protestant denomination and the 12th largest religious body in the world. You date back to 1863, and among your founders is a highly esteemed and prolific writer, Mrs. Ellen G. White. You have 86,576 churches and 71,758 companies. You have 198 hospitals, 133 nursing homes, 5,915 primary schools, 2,435 secondary schools, 115 tertiary institutions, and on top of it, you are ethnically and culturally diverse. You have the wholesome health message that has been demonstrated to be superior for the human body than many other diets. You have the unique doctrine of the investigative judgment. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I am sure one of his official website will be www.adventist.org. So I'm pleased to be here tonight to share this moment with the Jamaica Union Conference as you continue to broaden and enhance the use of technology, media, and the internet to help in the outreach mission of the church, as well as to provide training for communication and technology professionals. The Seventh-day Adventist Church in Jamaica, as you well know, has actively integrated the use of technology, internet, and the media in its religious and educational pursuits. Of note is the Northern Caribbean University NCU Media Group, which has made tremendous strides in providing training for students in ICT and media. A name which comes readily to mind is the 2017 and 2018 Press Association of Jamaica Journalist of the Year, Andrea Chisholm, who I understand will be honored during this event. I know that the students at the university have also done extremely well in the STEM areas, cupping several first-place awards in both local and international competitions, such as Microsoft Imagine Cup competition, National Business Model Competition for the year 2016 to 2017. Girls in ICT Caribbean Hackathon in 2017 and 2018. And the Scientific Research Council's National Science and Technology Fair Competition in 2018, which incidentally I attended the 2019 one today. It happened in Kingston. NCU-FM has also made a name for itself in the media landscape and is well known for its emphasis on health, wellness, and education. In the 2018 All Media Survey, the station was ranked 7th among 30 radio stations island-wide. It was also the initiator of the 14 in 14 Health and Wellness Tour Initiative in 2014 and the Acts of Kindness School Tour in 2017. So the Seventh-day Adventist body has accomplished much and has many reasons to be proud. Ladies and gentlemen, as you heard before, the year 2019 marks the 30th anniversary of the World Wide Web, a phenomenon which has significantly changed the world and has helped to usher in the digital age. More than 50% of the world's population is using the internet. Mobile cellular network, which almost covers the whole world population, offers access. The number of Internet of Things is projected to exceed 20 billion by 2020. And things like cryptocurrencies, artificial intelligence, increased use of robotics, and a plethora of other emerging technologies will soon become the norm. I commend the Seventh-day Adventist community for embracing the technological landscape. You're an example of how one can utilize the ever-evolving potential of technology to do what comes naturally and preach the gospel, but to also facilitate training and digital literacy. Technology is, after all, the language of the fourth industrial revolution, and as such, it must be the language and medium used to communicate to today's generation. At the ministry, we are committed to bridging the technological divide that you heard Mr. Darin talked about. So far, we have over 300 community internet facilities, which we call community access points, and I'm pleased to say that some of these facilities are also located on church grounds or in church buildings. We have established 7 free public Wi-Fi hotspots to which persons can connect while they are on the go. And an additional 4 hotspots will be established this financial year into the next. Additionally, in our quest to ensure that no member of our community gets left behind, we have allocated 50 million Jamaican dollars to finance projects aimed at using technology to improve the quality of life of persons with disabilities. This, ladies and gentlemen, is technology at your service. In a digital and knowledge-based society, borders are virtually non-existent, and data and information are the new engines that drive discovery, innovation, and solutions. At the ministry, we recognize the importance of data in this age. Every action you take online leaves a footprint. The websites you visit, the apps you download and use, the research you conduct, videos you watch, and photos you like are sharing key information about you. This unique information, or what we call data, is being stored, studied, and analyzed. And so I want to make you aware that the Data Protection Bill, which will be reviewed by a reconstituted Joint Select Committee of Parliament this month. The first meeting is going to happen next Wednesday, starting at 2 o'clock at Parliament, seeks to protect this data. The bill is a significant piece of legislation that sets clear guidelines for how the government, businesses, and organizations should correctly collect, store, and dispose of persons' personal and sensitive data. As a religious organization, you will also be seen as a data processor, for which there are standards to guide how information on your data subjects, otherwise called your congregation or members, are treated. In the data protection regime, data subjects, I'm a data subject, everybody here is a data subject. We will have new rights. We will have a right to know what data is being collected about us. We will have the right to know who has access to that data and for what reason. Because data about us, all of us, form part of our digital identity. You see, in other countries, their data protection laws are already well entrenched. We are just starting. So let me pivot to another topic, cybersecurity. As you connect and collaborate to bring change into your world and into the country, I also welcome you to help us share our message of safe cyber habits. With cybercrime damages expected to cost the world some $6 trillion annually by 2021, and with predictions indicating that in 2019, a business will fall victim to ransomware attacks every 14 seconds, every user of the internet is at risk of a cyber attack. Just a week or so ago, I had a meeting with one of the large telecom providers, and among the topics of conversation was cybersecurity, because I wanted to know how are they protecting their client's data. And they were telling us about all the technology and the infrastructure they have in place. But then they also commented that Jamaica has extremely high levels of cyber attack. It's up there with Colombia. So of course, I'm interested. Where are all these cyber attacks coming from? Which country are they coming from? Which countries? And they say, most of it is coming from right here in Jamaica. As a ministry, we're taking the lead to strengthen the government's cyber response. The Organization of American States, through its Inter-American Committee Against Terrorism, has been working with the Jamaica Cyber Incidents Response Team to implement an early warning system which will assist in protecting Jamaica's cyber infrastructure by installing a security, information, and event management network. The system will enable us to provide alerts as soon as there is a cyber threat on the horizon, and will help to fortify Jamaica's cyber infrastructure by being proactive in dealing with cyber-related threats. I want to encourage the Seventh-day Adventist body to incorporate as part of your ministry and teaching lessons of cyber safety, risk, threats, and precautions. Tailor these messages to reach each stakeholder with whom you meet and engage: the business community, parents, youth, and senior citizens. Today's world requires new lessons and behaviors to be learned. A key part of that is how to stay safe online. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are at a crucial juncture in our digital transformation. As citizens in this age, the Global Adventist Internet Network has a critical role to play. My commendations to the Jamaica Union Conference on hosting what I am sure will be a beneficial and successful conference. So let me close by saying, ladies and gentlemen, what a mighty God we serve. He woke us up this morning, clothed us in our rightful minds, gave us journeying mercies to be here. Let all of creation praise his name. And if I sound as if I have some religion in me, I do. For many of my years in high school, I worshiped at the Claremont SDA Church. And in my adult life, you could find me and my family at a little church named Lancaster Seventh-day Adventist Church, nestled beside the mighty Atlantic Union College. Who would have thought I'd be standing here representing the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, who sends his greetings. But I stand here as well in my own right as Member of Parliament and Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology. What a mighty God we serve. Pope John Paul II, an ecumenical patriot, Bartholomew said, "The church is called to use science and technology in a full and constructive way, while recognizing that the findings of science always have to be evaluated in light of the centrality of the human person, of the common good, and of the inner purpose of creation. The people of God walk in history, and the history we walk in now is science, technology, and innovation. Embrace and harness the power of technology to testify of the good news of God's grace to all the people of the world. That's the Great Commission, which is not an option to be considered, but a command to be observed. Technology has just made that easier. I declare this conference open. God bless you.
Minister, I invite you to remain where you are as I invite Adis Jonas to make a presentation to you.
Good evening, everyone. Minister Williams, I stand here delighted and pleased to present this token of our appreciation to you. It is but a small token, but I'm sure that you will feel the love, and you will, of course, every time you look at it, you'll remember GAiN Jamaica and your contribution. You know, at the beginning of your presentation, I sensed a little bit of your gift in ministry, not only as the Minister of Science, Energy, and Technology, but there is definitely something in your voice I'm hearing that says that we should, ladies and gentlemen, be inducting her into the fraternity of Seventh-day Adventists. So, Minister Williams, we want you to contemplate this GAiN function, what it stands for, and of course, your lifelong role and partnership with the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and ultimately, one day, we'll welcome you as Sister Williams. So please accept this token of appreciation. It is from the members, the officers, the staff, the hundreds of communicators here from the Jamaica Union Conference, and of course, our sister institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Chambers will also make a presentation.
Good evening. I listened attentively to your presentation, and I took note of your knowledge of theology, of Adventist theology, and of your background. And I want to thank Elder Cook for giving me this opportunity to present to you of my recently released book on becoming a mature Christian. And I'm going to be presenting you a copy from the author to you.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate these gifts. And I just want you to know I've read every book that Sister White has written.
Woman, better woman. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we thank the minister and move to close this part of the proceedings, you'll agree with me that this function was a fitting end to a memorable day. Don't you agree? One thing remains clear. Our Christian mission is bigger than each of us, but must encompass all of us. Tomorrow, if God permits, we will continue to explore the many ways in which we can all play a part in advancing the work of the gospel through information communication technologies. And while you contemplate all of that tonight, remember Hebrews 13, verse 16. Remember it? I quoted it at the beginning. But to do good and to communicate, forget not, for with such sacrifices, God is well pleased. Please stand for the national anthem. Please remember that the minister has been invited to cut the ribbon to declare the exhibition just on the outside open. And I'm told that you will be specially welcomed by a robot called Bob. So look out for Bob on your way out. Thank you and good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we start back at 8:30 tomorrow. Please be on time.